This is Believe in Buckeyes. I'm Brian Brownie with All-American
Oh,
Corner.
come, let's sing Ohio's praise in songs to alma mater raise.
Oh, this is beautiful.
While our hearts rebounding thrill with joy which death alone can steal. Summer's heat or winter's cold.
Winter's
The
cold.
seasons pass, the years will roll.
We'll roll.
Time and change will surely show how firm thy friendship, Ohio. Fight the team across the field, show them Ohio's here. Set the earth reverberating with the mighty right, hit them hard and see how they fall. Never let that team get the ball. Hell, the game's all here, so let's win that little conference now. Woo!
The 2024 national champions are Ohio State Buckeyes. They got the job done last night against Notre Dame, the Fighting Irish. We win that game 34-23. It was a game that we looked like we had control of, but Notre Dame showed some heart. They kept it exciting. But Chim, obviously you feeling good. I didn't know you could sing like that. No,
I'm feeling good, man.
Listen, like, what's going on?
I can't sing, man. I'm just in the right tune because Ohio State got it done, and I'm feeling some type of way. Man, it's been a long season, the longest season in college football history, man.
Literally, right? Literally,
you had ups, you had downs, you had significant lows, but you come out on top. I just want to congratulate starting with the seniors.
Yeah.
I want to start with the seniors because they came back and had 3 goals. 3 goals. Beat Michigan, win the Big Ten, and the ultimate goal, win the national championship. They didn't get the first 2, but they stayed the course. They believed, they continued to fight, and they got the ultimate one. And, man, there's not, I've been around a lot of players, a lot of teams.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I can pinpoint a team as just a team that's as deserving as this group led by those seniors. So congrats to them. Congrats to all the Buckeye seniors who were able to finish off on a good note and get it done.
Yeah, man. I mean, this you just cannot give them enough kudos. Congratulating those guys, all the things that they've been through, all the ups and downs, right? All the what should have, could have been, all the not sometimes living or playing to their potential, to kind of put all that to a side, essentially humble themselves, right? And put the team first, coming together for a playoff stretch that's essentially first time in history at the FBS level, coming together, setting everything aside, and it's really just getting the job done.
Yeah.
Shout out to Coach Day, checking that box, getting that hump, getting over that hump. These seniors, these transfers, whoever, this Ohio State Buckeye team really got the job done, and man, they go down in history in a fantastic fashion.
Yeah, for a fantastic fashion. And there's been a lot of talk about the fan base and how they responded after the loss to Michigan and whether it's the crazy response or the right response. I will say this, losing to Michigan is an emotional thing. Like, that is, and up until this year, losing to Michigan was going to likely exclude you from a opportunity to go to a national championship. So this is the first year where, you can have a loss and continue to make that type of run. So even to the fans, man, like, I understand the response. I understand there's always the few that go a little bit too far, but I understand the response. But the way, the fans rallied behind this team, once they saw what they were capable of, it was a fun ride all the way through to that national championship. Man, it was just great to see Ryan Day, after dealing with so much scrutiny for the last few years because of that team, be able to rise to the occasion and lead this team to the ultimate goal.
Yeah, right. And it really would come down to it. I think before the season, it was no secret Ohio State had probably the best roster in college football, right? I mean, you got Urban Meyer and Tressel talking about the roster and how special it is and maybe the most talented roster in history of football, they had that kind of potential. And you get into the season, right? Now you got to try to live up to this, right? Especially around Buckeye Nation. And you have a slip up, all right? You lose a very tough fall game to a good Oregon team, right? By 1 point. And then you have the ultimate failure, right? You get embarrassed. You play the Michigan game, you play your rivalry, and you lose. And now what? Right? Now what? Like, is this going to be just another season where we kind of remember, Ohio State had a lot of good players. They had this guy here and this guy here, and we watch them on Sundays, and we're proud of them. But we just know that, essentially the history of Ohio State, we don't have a banner, a trophy, a ring to kind of really put to that team name. We just know we had a lot of individual great players. But now, once you win a national championship, we're talking about the team. Now we're talking about the 24-25 team and what that team was able to accomplish by coming together and essentially sticking to it when basically a lot of people written them off due to that embarrassing loss. And we go on a run, a historic run, and win the national championship. It's funny how much that game means to us. We talk about our own national championship. We love it. We enjoyed it. We stayed up all night. My eyes are red, right? I was up all night. I had to get up and still deal with kids and do some things for work and things of that nature. You did the same. But it was a very special night, but that game means a lot. But we want to dive into this game because this is what's important. What took place last night and our Buckeyes getting the job done against Notre Dame.
One more thing before we dive into it is just Ryan Day said something after the game that I think I'll always remember. Like, that story doesn't get told unless you win, right? So now we can actually tell the story. And I think about the story for the team that didn't win. And that was also a great story that may not be able to be told in the same way because they weren't able to complete it. But Marcus Freeman, a guy who we both played with, a guy who we know, to be able to bring that team who lost to Northern Illinois, I think week 2, from that point to bring them all the way to a national championship. And you could say whatever you want about who they play in the regular season. Once the playoffs come in the 12-team playoff, there's no hiding, right? They beat Penn State, they beat Indiana, they beat Georgia, who beat Texas twice, right? Who won the SEC. So his ability to have that team playing together and to continue to fight in this game when they went down big, man. I was not anticipating that comeback. I really wasn't. So shout out to him. And there was a moment after the game that I saw on social media. He was, in the locker room, but he was watching the ceremony after the game, Ohio State, I'm talking to Ryan Day, them receiving the trophy and everything. It's got to be such a weird moment for a guy who played at Ohio State, graduated from Ohio State, is likely a fan of Ohio State outside of...
He's been a fan of his whole life. I mean, he admitted it, right? He
from Ohio, right?
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where, man, I wanted to get it done. But at the same time, the love and the respect for Ohio State. And he also has former teammates on the coaching staff at Ohio State, one, James Laurinaitis, who coached with him a couple years ago, too. So shout out to Marcus Freeman and the way he continues to lead those guys. And I think he's going to be back in that position sometime soon.
Yeah, I mean, they just like Ohio State, and rightfully so. Like, they understand that they have a guy, right? They got to support, and they'll do the things needed to make sure that their team is competitive. So Freeman could, have the right pieces to get his team back there. But yeah, shout out to Coach Freeman. Like I say, one of our teammates. Kudos to him, man. This is a great job, great season. His guys fight like hell, and they showed that last night. Like you say, in a situation where they could have easily given up. But let's talk about the game. Obviously, the game kicks off.
Yep.
Ohio State wins the coin toss. They deferred. I was like, yeah, that makes sense. They're going to defer. Get a nice 3 and out. We get a score, and then we kind of take control of this game. It did not play out like that, man. Notre Dame goes on an 18-play drive, 9 minutes off the clock, ends it with a scoring touchdown of their own. Let's dive into that first drive because I think that right there set the tone on who Notre Dame is and the type of game that Roddy Leonard was going to play to try to win that national championship.
Yeah, they executed the game plan to perfection. Everybody knows the Notre Dame game plan at this point. They want to shorten the game. They want it to be a close ball game going into the fourth quarter. And then from there, see who could be the tougher team. They want to run the ball, etc. They did exactly what they wanted to do all the way down the field. The one thing that was interesting to me, though, is that they did it with the quarterback mostly. And we know he's a big part of the run game. They're very, very effective with quarterback run. They get the extra blocker. But, man, I watched every run play. And they were getting small chunks, not big chunks.
Yeah, not
6
big
yards here, 7 yards here, 8 yards, 4 yards. But, man, he was driving his feet. And the defensive line were landing on him. And he was driving his feet. And these were tough yards. And I started to think, like, man, Ohio State couldn't stop it, per se. But, man, it's about to be a long game if they're going to continue to run their starting quarterback every down like that. I don't know what you thought about that first drive.
Yeah, I mean, no, I mean, that first drive, he had 9 carries. 9 carries on the, they had 18 plays. He had 9 carries the first drive. They say I didn't see it, but watching the broadcast, they say on the sideline after the first drive, he throws up, and it's like, so when I heard that, I was like, well, he did it the first drive. He's not going to be able to continue to do that, because any athlete knows once you get to the point that you're so tired that you throw up, like, bro, you need to blow. You're usually done for the day. Obviously, it's the first drive. He can't be done for the day, but he at least need a blow, because he's going to need to get some fluids back in, all the things of nature. When you throw up, your core and legs are gone at that point, right?
Yeah.
That means that you exhausted them to the point that you had to earl. But man, it was a very impressive drive. He ran really hard, really strong, and from there, our defense kind of had to check themselves on the sideline. Like, hey, we're not going out like that. So second drive, Ohio State gets the ball, and they kind of keep the momentum going. They have their own 11-play drive that ends with a touchdown. What stands out to you about that drive in particular for Ohio State to kind of come right back and answer the bell, right? Because now, Notre Dame's feeling good. We answer that bell right away by another, not big plays, a sustained drive to get down the field and tie up the game.
Yeah, I think the big thing for me on that first Ohio State drive was zone coverage, right? All this talk about, Notre Dame's going to do what they do. They're going to play man. They're going to do. So a lot of zone coverage on that first drive. And I saw a lot of what I anticipated, but questioned whether or not, Notre Dame was going to change the game plan. Them trying to stay on top, them trying to keep everything in front of them, meaning the running backs for Ohio State were going to be able to get loose. This wasn't the biggest defensive line that Ohio State played against. This wasn't the Texas-type defensive line. While they've been pretty good at stopping the run, they did it with committing a lot of guys to the box. That first drive for Ohio State, they didn't commit as many guys to the box consistently as they did before, and it made me just instantly think, okay, Ohio State's going to be able to drive the ball down the field. The one concern I had was when Ohio State finished their drive, the quarter was over. 2 drives, second quarter. That was the type of game Notre Dame wanted to play.
Yeah, that's for sure. And then obviously we get to points we matched. Next series, that's when the game kind of settles down, right? Notre Dame has a 3-and-out. I think first play we stopped them for no gain. I know second down they jumped on sides, and once they jumped on sides and then got to 2nd and 15, it's like, okay, this is where we really want to keep Notre Dame at. Having that standpoint, they get a holding call. Actually, no, we got a punt. We get the ball back. We put together a drive and score a touchdown, taking the lead now 14-7.
And this is where it started to go a little bit different. Not different. Yeah, a little bit different than the Texas game, right? Because in the Texas game, you had similar opportunity to go about 14 points, couple penalties here. You end up putting the ball, and you don't extend the lead. And I remember on that second Ohio State scoring drive, the thing I said out loud is like, this feels like they're playing Indiana, because Indiana was the first like highly ranked team to me that they played, and it felt like anything they wanted, they were going to be able to get, and it all stemmed from the passing. Like we can't give up the pass, so we can't stop the run. We can't give up the pass, so we can't stop the passes to the running back. We can't give up the deep pass, so we can't stop Emeka Egbuka going across the field on this every snap. And then eventually, we're going to have to react to all this other stuff. Now we're not going to be able to stop the deep pass. That's exactly how, in that second drive, that's when I really believe that they truly can't stop. Because the first drive is like, you got your scripted plays, you got the stuff.
Yeah.
But that's when I was like, yeah, they're not going to be able to stop this Ohio State.
Right. In the first drive, we end with that very creative play, right? We run a fake motion with Jerry Myers Smith. He come right back around. We catch him in man in the corner. I don't know. It looks like he panicked. He just runs to the upside of the field. We walk in for a touchdown. Second drive, Judkins run, tough run. But I think about a 9-10 yard run kind of ended in the end zone at that point.
So you talk about that one play, and it's funny because as a corner, I understand what the corner is going through in that exact moment. Earlier on that same drive, they ran like a jet sweep where they snapped the ball directly to Jeremiah Smith, and he got tackled for a loss, right?
Yes.
But the corner is recognizing, Jeremiah Smith's alignment. Like he's close to the formation, he's deep. He's likely doing some type of motion over. So every time he saw that, he's telling the rest of his defense, like, hey, something's up. Like they're doing something. So the first time it was a jet sweep, direct snap to him. Now the second time, that corner's in man coverage. And he's letting everybody know, like, hey, I'm going to come over there with him. But something is up. Something is up. And he's almost ahead of it. He's ahead of everything. Yeah. And this is the issue with a guy like Jeremiah Smith, right? The whole defense reacts to it. Once they see that jet sweep motion, it's a reverse to Jeremiah Smith. It's a reverse pass. It's something on the other side of the field. That corner is sprinting full speed to get over there and meet him on the other side of the field, and he just comes back. And he's wide open, and you can see the whole defense shift to try to stop him on the other side. Yeah, great play call in that situation. Alabama actually ran that against Ohio State, I think, in the national championship, but something similar with Devontae Smith. But great play call, but it just shows the gravity that a guy like Jeremiah Smith creates when he just does something different than what he normally does.
Yeah, that's right. So, like I said, that's the first touchdown. Juckers tough run. We up 14-7 now. Notre Dame gets the ball again, 3 and out. Not much. Now we're rolling. Now we're cooking. We get the ball back to Will Howard. He's doing a great job on this third drive of the game. Now he's doing a good job at running the ball as well, right? He was able to early and often kind of establish things and keep the flow of the offense going with plays he made with his feet. Really, we haven't seen that much all season, but in the national championship, it's one more left, lay it all on the line. He was able to kind of do some things there and eventually scrambling in the red zone and hitting a wide open Christian Judkins for a touchdown to get to 21-7. What's that? Yeah, essentially really right before halftime there, right?
Yeah, right half. And the thing about man coverage is, eventually they have to play man. That's what they do. That's what they do best, right? That's what they do. So eventually they have to say, look, we're going to have to man up on these guys. You got guys running free everywhere. And when they do it, you start accounting for everybody. You got the speed on speed. You got all these receivers manned up. You got a safety high to protect against a deep pass. You got the other safety. You got him playing kind of like a middle free robber type player who's helping on all the crossing routes. So now we're taking care of all that stuff. And then you got the linebackers matched up on tight ends and running backs. And now everybody forgets that the quarterback can run the ball. I mean, the guy played at Kansas State, and he ran the ball a lot, right? Yeah. And you could see everything open up for him, and it was easy decisions to go around for 10 yards because they just struggled. You just run out of guys. That's why Oregon played with 12 guys on that one drive. You just run out of if you account for everything, you run out of guys.
And you run out of guys. So we go to halftime. We're feeling really good. All right, we up 21-7. I believe we're in the group chat. Some people are saying it's over. I'm like, not quite, right? Just come out at half and see how it goes.
I'm some people.
Hey, man, I wasn't going to throw you under the bus, man. I wasn't going to do that to you, man. I wasn't going to do you, I wouldn't do that to you, man. But we come out at halftime, and we hit on another big one, right? We hit on a big run this time to Judkins for a 70-yard gain. He gets in the red zone. He's able to finish it with another touchdown. That's his third touchdown of the day at that point. What did you like to see at Ohio State coming out at half? I know coaches always talking about winning that middle 8, all right?
Yeah.
The last 4 before half and coming out and winning the first 4 in the second half. This was another game that we was able to do that, obviously, with 2 touchdowns to Notre Dame's none. What's your thoughts on us coming out with that spunk, that fire, and staying locked in, right? Because after this point, it gets a little rocky, right?
Right, because you got to think, Notre Dame goes into halftime, and they got to make adjustments. They got to say, look, they're beating us on this, and this. And then not, at this point, I feel like they were beating them on everything. But they're beating us on this, and this. This is how we're going to go play the second half, right? And what happens a lot of times is that team that's winning, what they're doing is working. So they go in at halftime and say, look, we're going to keep doing what we're doing. Ohio State comes out, and I guess they kind of did keep doing what they were doing. And the adjustments that Notre Dame made was to be more aggressive. Like, we're going to commit more guys. We're going to send a little bit of pressure. And the thing about that, man coverage, more pressure. Every guy on defense are at the same level, right? If somebody gets out of your gap, boom, you can you get hit on the big one, which is what happened with the Judkins run. And it's just, it goes to show that, we talk about the receivers a lot, but what the offensive line has been able to do throughout the season, even with the reshuffle, even with guys in and out. Luke Montgomery didn't start, I don't think, to the playoffs. If I'm not mistaken.
He basically didn't play any real, essentially no real snaps into the playoffs.
And they don't miss a beat, right? They don't miss a beat. They're able to take whatever. You got Donovan Jackson, who's moved to left tackle and just isn't giving up nothing, right?
Anything.
Just nothing against
that's
elite
the
level.
team MVP in my book. That's crazy.
So you talk about the firepower on the outside, but the offensive line and their ability to handle whatever they needed, to do whatever it took to get this win has been impressive. And at that moment, when he gets before they even scored the touchdown, at that moment when he gets the big run, I'm like, oh my goodness, man. I'm thinking it's going to be a complete route.
Right. No, right. I mean, rightfully so. So at that point, we go up 28-7. And then once again, shout out to the O-line. Notre Dame runs some exotic stuff.
Yeah.
Exotic stuff. I think for the day we gave up, I think we had 2 sacks. We got 2 sacks. They got 2 sacks. The protection was outstanding from the offensive line, from the running back stepping in, making blocks. If he was a tight end and you was in the protection, everybody knew their man. And that's what it takes when you run a team with exotic blitzes and packages. You got to know who you got, right? Who's my man at the snap? Who am I responsible for? And we did a great job at sorting that out all day. Sometimes they went a little bit overload and we was able to hit some plays. Obviously, we would get to that, the big one, right, to kind of seal the game. But it's just, it takes to know, to study, to lock in as a coaching staff, to teach it, and your guys retain that information, and obviously to kind of go out there and play it from there. So we are now up 28-7. Junkins hit a big run. I'm feeling like you feeling now. I'm like, okay, this one is probably pretty much over. Notre Dame gets the ball.
Then they did the fake field goal, right, on the next drive. Like, they got stopped.
Fake punt.
Fake punt.
Yeah, fake punt. Yeah, so they, and that, not a 3, I did get a first down before going. No. They 4th down was the fake punt, which was a crazy idea. I just didn't understand it. They ended up throwing that ball against our starting corner. So now you got your punter trying to complete a pass against our starting cornerback. It did not work. We we get to stop there, turn them over. Next drive, we are able to hit on the 3rd and 16. Will Howard hit on the 3rd and 16 to Cardinal Tate. And then our guy, Jaden Fielding, gets out there in the national championship and he sinks a field goal.
There you go.
He went crazy after he made that field goal. Confidence out the window at that. That was a big moment. I cheered.
Yeah, I wanted them to score. I was happy for him to go out there and be able to get a field goal, made field goal in that situation for sure to continue to extend the lead. And then after that, what's the next drive? Notre Dame gets the ball.
Drive, Notre Dame. Next day, this is when the game kind of starts back up here. Notre Dame gets the ball. They drive 10 plays, 75 yards, and ends with a touchdown. This is where really Riley Leonard kind of essentially earned his money, man, because he kind of like sparked in, locked in, and kind of really stepped up his game.
Yeah, he started throwing the ball. Ohio State was in kind of a passing, I wouldn't say a prevent, but kind of a coverage type defense. And what it really came down to is the receivers started making plays. I was surprised. I'm like, man, these guys are making plays. Slant catch, shy misses a tackle, which you think the DB would make that tackle, and then it's an explosive play. And Riley Leonard was doing something that we didn't see a lot of, not even just this game, even the past couple games, and being able to throw the ball and find the open receiver. So they started mounting a little bit of a comeback due to some slippage in coverage, penalties, missed tackles. But then also Riley Leonard making some plays in the past game.
Yeah, making the plays. Yeah. So like I said, they're able to put that drive together. They get a score. They hit on that 2-point conversion. So now the score is at 31-15. Ohio State gets the ball. It looks like we're willing and ready to answer, right?
Yeah.
We're still in the game. Our guys was locked in all day. But the drive ended a little bit short with the fumble due to a good play by Notre Dame, stripping the ball from Emeka Egbuka on a big gain. I think he might have gained like 30, 40 yards that down, and able to kind of get a strip, get a fumble, and turn us over.
Yeah,
Um,
big
and
fumble.
now essentially he a big fumble. But now Notre Dame is 16-point game, two touchdowns. That ties it. So
Yep.
that's a big turnover for sure.
And then they elect to on that drive going back after the fumble. They go for it on one fourth down, they get it. Then on the next fourth down, they say, "Look, we're just gonna go ahead and kick the field goal. It's still gonna be a two possession game, but I guess this time you won't have to go for two or whatever if they make the field goal." They
Right.
missed the field goal,
They missed the field goal.
which I think they if they could have it back, obviously they would have just went for it on fourth and see if they can get the touchdown. But they missed the field goal, which was huge. And I think the next possession, Ohio State is held to a punt. But that missed field goal was big. And Notre Dame, typically a team that from a special, at least from recently, special teams, they've been lights out on special teams.
Yeah, that's for sure, especially in the playoffs. But I guess throughout the season, their starting kicker got hurt. So that was pretty bad on field goal for like most of the season. I think that was kind of really one of the worst teams in the nation at kicking them. But their starter was back in the playoffs. He made some field goals some previous weeks. But obviously, when you hit the crossbar, it's just like it's a tough miss, right?
Yeah.
You just get dinged. You miss it. The offense was really rolling at that time. So like you say, yeah, today, I'm sure Freeman was like, yeah, we should have went for it there on fourth down. But it was only 9 minutes left, right? It was only 9 minutes in the fourth quarter when they attempted that field goal. So I'm thinking, man, you guys should go. But they didn't. They missed it. I was happy. I celebrated. And then I figured, like, okay, now that they missed the field goal, the game would surely be over at that point, right?
Right.
But no, we punt the ball. They get the ball back. And then they go on a really big drive here. Like you say, wide receivers are making plays all over the place, led by Greathouse. They go down, they score, they run a trick play, another 2-point conversion, and now we're at an 8-point game, 31-23. How are you feeling at that point when it's, I think it's about like 3 minutes left in the game at that time they hit on that? How are you feeling at that point and your confidence level for our Buckeye?
At that point, I'm still feeling good. Except for the fact the play calling. So now they're in a position where they kind of want to run the ball, run the clock. They call, I think, maybe 2 or 3 quarterback runs in a row. And it's not necessarily the play. It was a design of the play. You got the fullback at running back. And with the fullback there, we know it's quarterback. Right?
We know it's, right.
And Notre Dame is a defense. When they know what you're doing, they stop. Right? When you got them off guard and you can throw the ball, you can do a few different things. It's hard for Ohio State. It's hard for them to stop Ohio State. But when they know, like these guys know, now they stop it. Safety blows up one of the quarterback runs. They blow up the second one, and now it's looking like, Notre Dame's gonna have the ball with a real shot to finish it, to tie it up potentially and send this thing to overtime. But you got Jeremiah Smith.
You got Jeremiah Smith, man. Yeah, you got Jeremiah Smith. And it's funny. It's like almost like they kind of baited it to him again, right? They line up in the same formation. And, we need to turn off the clock, right? And we catch them in a position where Notre Dame is coming, right? They're not sitting back. They're sending their guys man across the board. I believe they had it would have ended with one guy free due to it being felt like he was had a blitz man type of situation. This guy started blocking, so he just started play coverage. And Jeremiah Smith, guys one-on-one, feel bad for that young man. I believe that guy was an All-American, a freshman All-American himself. So, we're talking about a decent player. But it's Jeremiah Smith. He runs a fantastic route. Will throws up. We make the play. Essentially, it's history from there. Well, yeah, man. What about that play for you, man? I know it's a special one, for sure.
It's a tough play for the corner, man. They're going all out blitz and not giving them no safety help in this position because they're expecting one more run to try to get the ball back. And like they did the last 2 plays, they sold out for the run and they got the stop. But on this one, Jeremiah Smith, and it's 3rd and 11. You think Ohio State's going to be a little bit conservative here. Even if they try to get the first down, you expect something at the sticks. So he's kind of sitting at the sticks, and Jeremiah Smith is running at him, but he stems the route so hard inside. This is a guy, he doesn't have help, so he has to stay inside because that's the quickest way to catch and just run for a touchdown. So he's trying to stay inside, but he's also being run at by a big receiver with so much speed. It just puts him in a tough position. And by the time he opens up, he's about 5-6 yards behind Jeremiah Smith at this point. And now it's just waiting for the ball. Jeremiah's been waiting for the ball. And those are the situations. I don't know that you take that type of shot unless you have a guy like Jeremiah Smith that says ain't no 50-50 balls when I'm running these routes. And I mean, let's keep it honest. As a quarterback, I mean that's a ballsy play to make on 3rd and 11, kind of game on the line. 3rd and 11, you just throw a bomb, which tends not to be a high percentage throw, but it is when it's Jeremiah Smith, the guy who's running it.
All right, Notre Dame did a solid job against Jeremiah Smith. He ended the day with 5 catches, 88 yards, and 1 touchdown, like we say, to start off the game. And he made his plays. Notre Dame did their job to kind of try to limit them when they could. But like you say, when the game gets on the line, you got to trust your guys. Notre Dame said, hey, we're going to stop this run. We're going to sell out, make sure we don't give up nothing cheap. And because of that, we got Jeremiah Smith and Will Howard, who's been making great decisions all day, throwing the lofty up. We make the play. Essentially, from there, we go on. We kick a field goal. Fielding hits another field goal. We get up to 34-23 at that point, and essentially that's game ball. I mean, that's game time. Game time. It's over at that point. Shout out to Will Howard. I think he started the day off 13 for 13 on completions?
Something like that. He broke the record for efficiency, I think, in a championship.
Yeah.
And Ohio State's record, I think, for efficiency. He
for a season.
For the season.
For a season.
Overcoming beating out what C.J. Stroud was able to do.
C.J. Stroud, yep. So he ended the day 17-21, 231 yards passing, 2 touchdowns. But I think the biggest thing of the day was his rushing, with 57 yards rushing on 16 carry attempts. Once again, he was leaving it to doubt, right? He was going to make sure he did whatever it took to get Ohio State over the hump. And before that, he won Offensive MVP, and we get to go on to be national champions, man. Right? I mean, it's
national champions. Right. And Ryan, they talked about the rushing, and it's like, look, we're emptying the clip for this last game. There's no games after that. We're not worried about quarterback injury at this point. We're running the ball when we need to. We're doing whatever it takes to win the game. And you saw it from the time the game opened on offensively. They had a great game plan. They had an answer for all of Notre Dame's answers. Just an impressive showing all in all. And this team that we already knew from the beginning was a very, very talented team. Uh-huh. They finally reached that potential when the playoffs started, which is a great time. A great time. We wish it would have been a little bit earlier, right before that big game against their rival. But to go on that type of run, man, it was impressive to watch. And they've reached Ohio State legendary status for the national championship.
That's true. I mean, you look back at this team, 12 teams made the playoffs, all right? Ohio State is 1, so it's 11 opponents out there. Ohio State beat 6 of them. Obviously 4 in the playoffs, need 4 games to win the national championship, but they also played the Penn State that they won. They also played the Indiana that they beat as well. So there's no denying that Ohio State is the true national championship team, the number 1 team in college football this season. And we can't pat those guys on the back hard enough, loud enough. We can't scream from the top of our lungs to say how proud we are of that unit, of that team. Coach Day sticking to it, quieting all the doubters, and winning the big one as the 2024-2025 national championship team. Big ups to our Ohio State Buckeyes.
Big ups. Look, I mean, even Bryant can shed a tear, man. Look at that, man.
Yeah, man. I'm a little under. I told you, man, my eyes is messed up, man. I'm not crying for the game, but I could, man. I really could.
Hey, Hershey was crying, man. Hey, I feel him. Kirk Hershey was crying after the game. I feel him. It's an emotional time right here.
That's right, man, for our guys, man. But look, man, that's our show for the day. Obviously, we'll be coming back. We got to talk about the guys even more. We need to dive a little more into our defense. We need to discuss our seniors. Where we think they're going to land at the next level. This special unit as we continue to celebrate as Buckeye Nation. But we're going to wrap up for today. And we promise to have more with you here soon as we continue to celebrate. Parade celebration at the stadium coming up, all those type of things, man. And we're going to we need to get a special guest. We got to get someone from that national championship team on the show, man. We work on that as well. As always, we're going to end this show with a nice OH.
Yo.
Go Bucks. Follow us. Talk to you guys soon.
Go Bucks.